All right, guys, welcome to this week's episode of, I still call it the Vargas Team Podcast. I just can't commit to the as is or whatever it is we're calling it. So, whatever. It's just a podcast where we as real estate agents, investors, property managers, people in the real estate industry get together, share some laughs, talk about some nonsense, talk about some real estate stuff, and hopefully that any one of those topics may engage you. And then you can stick around. And if you're interested in knowing more, then obviously, follow us on our socials and, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that good stuff. So we have the home team here. It's just us, the four of us, a little bit change in scenery. What do you guys think about the studio, by the way?
So sick.
Yeah,
Look at
I
this.
love it.
Very clean.
I love driving all the way across instead of staying in the area. But bro, I love it. It's really nice. You guys put your touch in it, and I love it. I love the new mics. What do you guys think of these?
Obsessed with the mic.
So we had some technical difficulties with these new mics, but we're hoping to get it sorted out. Look, guys, we're real estate people. We're not like techie people. At least I'm not. Mario is the techie person, the IT person. But even he has his limits. But yeah, look, new space, new year, new me, new whatever, all that jazz. But we're excited with the new studio. Hopefully we can share some really cool stuff and make some great content and some great memories from the space. And if you guys like the studio look and all that stuff, let us know in the comment section below. If you absolutely hate it and it's trash, let us know in the comment section below. Not that I'll care that much, but it's always good to know. So with that being said, let's jump into the topics as to some of the things that we're going to cover in today's podcast. And if you're interested in listening to those topics, obviously stick around and we'll talk about them and probably some other topics that, will just randomly come about. But there's a few things that I wanted to touch base today, and then we can all decide collectively which one we want to talk about. But the first one being is an article came out from I think NAR came out with it, that one of their chief economists say that the real estate market is going to reignite, his words, not mine, in 2024 in the next few months. And there's a couple reasons as to why he thinks that's the case. And we'll get our feedback if we think that's the case as well. Then some people have wanted to know, or maybe we think that some people want to know, but how do we each get into the real estate industry in the market? How do we become realtors? So I don't know if a lot of people are too interested in that, but if you're interested in knowing a little bit more on our backstory, we'll each share a little bit about that. So stick around if you want to get to know us a little bit more. Mistakes to avoid as a first-time home buyer. I think this is prevalent to everybody, whether you've bought a home, whether you're thinking about buying a home. The reality of the situation is that it's the biggest financial decision you should make. And so you should probably know what to avoid, some of the pitfalls. Should you buy or rent in 2024? Chloe brought this up because some people were asking her lately, isn't it better to just rent in the real estate market in general, but especially in Miami with how high rental prices are and especially purchase prices, like what's the better option? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then something kind of near and dear to us is handling stress and mental health while working in real estate. It's a very demanding job, a very stressful job, and you take your work home with you. So how do you deal with it, especially for you new agents and even seasoned agents? I've been doing this for a while, and there's always something new to learn. So we'll cover all of those topics and more. Which ones do you guys want to get started with?
Well, we start from the top, right?
I mean, we don't have to. There's no...
I like that order.
Yeah.
Yeah, start from the top. Yeah, we'll work our way down. We'll work our way down. Something more chill.
So serious is like,
Serious
most professional, and then...
Come on.
Yeah. All right. All right. So there was an article that came out in NAR. Again, I don't know if it's NAR. It doesn't really matter. But a chief economist has said that 2024 will reignite the real estate market. So there's a couple points that he had mentioned that I wrote down, some that are blatantly obvious, or at least obvious if you're in the market, if you're in the real estate space, maybe not obvious to the layman. But what do you guys think about that statement alone? Just the statement alone. How do you guys feel that anecdotally? Does that kind of resonate with you?
Oof, to be completely honest with you, I don't know, man. I think
No?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's gonna be worse times before better times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's. I mean, what he means by reignite, if that's opportunity that's gonna be coming in the near future, then I agree with that. If it's that the market's just gonna turn upside down out of nowhere, I don't know. I think there's gonna be worse times ahead than better times, and I think it's gonna be a great opportunity for people who are coming into the space. But it really just depends on whatever happens in America in the next year or so.
Are you talking about like as far as inventory?
I'm
Because
talking
starting
about
to see that
I'm
too.
talking about as far as investments.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people might be able to cash in the near future.
Yeah. I
And-
mean,
What do you think, Vin?
I mean, I think since the interest rates are kind of, going down a little bit, prices, people who have been waiting to buy are gonna be jumping on to buy, and that's as well gonna fuel, the prices a little bit.
What do you think, Steven?
I mean, I get his sentiment as to why. I actually am a little bullish on the market. And I think that the market, I don't know if reignite is the word, but definitely I've said it. If you go back to some of my videos, I've mentioned that I don't think that the market was ever going to crash. I got a lot of flack from that for saying that, and I held true to that sentiment. And I think that we're seeing the results of that. I think that there was a market correction, which I always said would happen. Prices cannot go up forever. But I just didn't see the Miami market as that weak. I knew how many cash transactions were taking place. I knew that it was close to about 50%. I knew that we had a solid foundation. Subprime mortgages weren't the issue. So I knew that eventually the market will correct, but it wouldn't crash. One of the things that he said in his article were that we've gone through the worst of it. So he actually thinks different from you. Again, he's an economist. I mean, economists don't necessarily have crystal balls, so it's not. They're like, I was just gonna say they're like weathermen, but no, they're not. That would be. I'm sorry for any economist. That insult. But I mean, like weathermen are saying it's gonna rain today, and it doesn't rain, right? But no, that's not true. There is a lot more to being an economist. But what I'm saying is that they're not 100% accurate all the time. But what he was saying is that we've gone through the worst of it. We're not going through a recession, and that these prices are the new normal. You guys think the prices are the new normal?
Yeah. 1,000%.
I think so. I think so. Especially in like prime markets.
Yeah.
I don't think those prices are gonna be coming down.
Especially with the limited inventory. Like I think I just pulled up a search 2 days ago, and I was shocked to see like what alone, even Doral, that was someplace that they're free for apartments. There was just so much inventory last year. And in comparison to now, I would say like maybe we found 4 good units, and I would say starting at 600K units. Like I'm not even talking about single family homes. So just looking at the inventory alone and just seeing like how far Miami has gone in just these last 2 to 3 years is just. I mean, it's exciting, right, for us that live here, but it's not exciting for the people that are just trying to purchase a home at this point in their life. They're like, I saved up the money. I was waiting for this to change, and it hasn't. And this is the moment that inventory should be driving itself up, and it's not. I would say if there ever was an opportunity to buy something and land something at a decent rate, it would be now, because we've always said it. We look back at the history 2 years ago or a year ago when the same client asked me, should I buy? And I said, you should buy now because rates are going to go up, prices are going to go up, rates are going to go down, and no one was listening. And now that's what's happening. And now inventory is low, rates are high. Prices are high and rates are low. So it's like, you have to decide, you have to pick one. And if you don't make a decision, someone's going to make the decision for you. And it's either you sit on the sidelines or you move somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the facts of the matter, is that are we going to have a better year in 2024 than 2023? I think so. I think 2023 was a difficult year for a lot of real estate agents. I don't think factually transaction volumes were down from 2023 than 2022. So that significantly impacted a bunch of real estate agents and the market alone. But 2023 was still a pretty decent year in real estate, all things considered, in terms of the amount of transactions. We didn't have as many transactions. But what I thought was very interesting about the market is that transaction volumes were cut in some markets almost in half, and interest rates were going up, but prices weren't going down. So you didn't have like this inverse effect. It didn't happen the way most people thought. Like, hey, there's half demand, right? Half of the amount of buyers in the market today, and there's higher interest rates would naturally get you to think that prices are going to come down, and that didn't happen. And so that kind of just puts us in a position, well, how's the market today? Well, the market probably has as many buyers now, and interest rates are going down. So if prices didn't go down last year when interest rates were technically higher, right, or becoming higher in the Q4 of last year or whenever it was, and interest rates are going down now, I would think, right, reason would say that prices are probably going to remain the same or go up. And even if prices remain the same, but transaction amount goes up, then it's technically a better market. And one of the other things he had pointed out here, which I knew this, but it was interesting to see exactly what year, but sales last year, 2023 was worse than 2022, but even 2023 was better than pre-pandemic levels. So that's why it's the new normal in terms of the new normal in prices, but the new normal in transaction volume. So again, not hitting these crazy heights, but still have a very healthy and stable market going into 2024. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
You have anything to say? Okay. All right.
No, your input matters. I mean, I agree with you.
My chair's making too much noise.
No, you're fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, you will catch that? Okay.
I'm sure. Don't worry.
But we'll leave that.
Yeah,
We'll leave
the
that.
audience, the audience will be okay. Yeah, that WD-40. So
That's all the work I put into that chair.
that chair squeaks because Chloe works so hard.
I work so.
Yeah, all the scoop backs. Yeah, exactly.
You
That's
know-
a callback for some content.
That's right. You were the OG that made fun of me when it came to my scoop back.
But yeah, no,
It
I
was
mean,
funny.
if rates keep going down, I think it's gonna be 2022 all over again, where everybody's gonna jump the market. Everybody's gonna jump.
But where's the
jump.
inventory?
It's still there.
There is no
It's low.
inventory.
Yeah,
Mario,
Mario, you pull a search.
2022 had low inventory as well.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a ton of inventory in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, like, post-COVID, but-
I didn't like that 2022 market. Like I did very well in 2022. I think a lot of agents did, but
I
it was
did great. I got rookie of the year that year.
Just,
I did really good in 2022.
I don't know. I kind of prefer a normal market. Like,
we started?
Yeah, I got rookie 2022. You got rookie 2021.
21. Oh, that's right.
That
Well,
market was awesome. Yeah, 2022 was
Damn.
horrible. It was cutthroat, bro.
yeah, 2022 was hard.
It's like, bro, there's like this meme, like I talk about it all the time because it follows me to this day.
meme.
Yeah, the therapist meme where the therapist is like, are those offers in the room with you right now? Like, it's just like, because we would send,
That was 2022.
we would send 4,
Yeah.
5, 6 different.
Well, that's why I
offers.
didn't really like it because even when I was representing sellers and I was getting multiple offers, which to any agent that's a dream to get multiple offers,
Yeah.
man, it was still a lot more work to go through all those offers. You had 7 offers you had to present to you had to negotiate with
And
each
then
person.
people were
like-
getting angry.
Yeah,
I remember they would call you, be like, "But why?
exactly. Right.
You didn't call me back." And you're
There was
like,
a lot
"No,
of
I
heated conversations.
did."
We
Like,
selected this offer, but how
remember,
is that
I
possible?
did, I
Because they
did.
paid more money.
It was intense. It was a little cutthroat.
But what if
Yeah.
we don't pay more money? Wouldn't and we meet the seller and he
But-
he gets to meet our kids? It's like, dude, I mean,
But I feel like it was an exciting time. It made you get creative. It made you tell a story. It made you build relationships. It made you go out there and learn and work harder than just like submit an offer and get it accepted. Like those are the kind of markets that I sort of thrive in. I love competition.
You
I
have to
love.
think out of the box.
Yeah, you have to think out, and that's what's going to set you apart from the agent right next to you, and that's where your clients are going to find value too. They're like, man. And a lot of your reviews, I'm sure, is that, right? Like those 2022 reviews are like, Mario fought hard to get me this property.
yeah, I think what 2024 is going to show is that if you are still thinking about not buying and you're still waiting for the market to crash,
Don't talk to me.
stop. No. I mean, look, they're gonna be like, yeah, agents
No,
telling me that, but
no.
like honestly, I just think like, man, stop waiting in line to lie to yourself, man. Just accept the reality of. Maybe you just don't want to buy,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
That's
fine. Not buying isn't for everybody. But
Guys,
like,
you do not have to buy.
you don't have to
Like,
buy,
that-
but it's one thing to be like, I just don't want to buy. I don't think buying is worth it. There's not the value that I want. Cool. But instead of just saying, I'll buy when the market is well and ready for me to buy, you're just going to be waiting forever. Which brings us to another topic. Is it better to buy now or rent? And I always answer this question, and most people think that, I'm going to say buy. I don't think buying is for everybody.
It's not. I mean, it's definitely for us as an investor. Like, I love when people ask us that question, like, oh, so you love your house, you purchased out. Actually, no, our house is rented 100%. And we plan on renting it for like the next 5 years and just keep buying investment properties. So like you said, it's not for everybody, but I am sort of getting that itch now that I'm like, what if we don't buy soon? Right? Like, I know I want to build. I'm not really happy with like the product that's even like the pre-construction projects that are going out right now. I'm not really happy with the quality, right? And the work and how fast they're putting these homes out. But yeah, it's just, and I'm seeing it with this property, and just, we love where we live, but just the quality is not there. And so you're going to cough up excess amount of money for this and have these expectations and then wait 2 years and then just, you're not happy. And where we rather wait, get a nice plot of land, sit on it for a little bit, and then start building with time and patience. And I don't think that people have that right now. I know a lot of people, especially our age, want to start families. They're getting married. They're going to transitioning in their life. And so they're like, what if I don't buy? And like what you said, you don't have to. You can find something that you're really happy in. One thing is key. Do you get along with your landlord? Do you get along with your property manager? Do you have this good long-standing relationship? Are you taking care of that property yourself?
Is
right?
your landlord planning on selling it?
Are they planning exactly? Are they an investor? Are they planning on selling? Like, there's so many key factors. We love our landlord. We've never met him, but we love our property manager because we get her lingo, right? Every single time there's an issue with our property, we're like, you know what? I don't want to bother her. I'm gonna pay for it to fix it. If it's not a big thing, I'm just gonna pay to fix it. I don't care what's on the contract. So create that relationship, establish that relationship, especially if you want to be in that rental property for a long-standing time. So
Yeah, that's where we're at right
Yeah,
now. We're doing the
definitely.
exact same thing.
And I think we learned from you guys is before we kind of thought, okay, we need to buy the condo that we were living in because our landlord decided to sell. And we're like, oh,
can we put a snippet of a year ago when
Make
you guys
sure
were saying you would never leave?
Make sure you speak into the mic
Yeah,
when you can,
guys
please.
said you would never leave downtown. Can we put that snippet? Mario has to pull that snippet.
Yeah, go deep into the archives.
Miami.
Mario grew up in one Miami.
Literally grew up in one building.
He was born in the lobby.
Like there's some people who live their entire life in their childhood home. No, Mario lived it in a building because he jumped around from apartment to apartment, but in one building. It's kind of funny. I've never met somebody, but yeah, born in the lobby.
I work out
You
of
know.
that building still.
Yeah.
And works out. You have this connection to one Miami. But look, I think what Chloe was saying and going to your point, Isabel, and what you guys are doing as, you know, new investors and everything. Yeah, I've never shied away from it. I've always told people, my clients know this, like, I own a lot of real estate. I mean, to everybody to somebody you own a lot of real estate. To a lot of people, I don't own any real estate. But the point is, we own rental properties, and we're in a stage in our career and our lives that I'm like, I'd rather just buy as much rental properties as I can right now to build that passive income and net worth than buying my future home, just because it wasn't something that I'm interested in doing. And we looked for a rental that the landlord I knew was an investor. I spoke to him before I rented. I'm like, do you have any plans on selling? No, I even offered to buy the home twice, remember? And he turned me down twice.
But we
and I
have
was
an
like,
agreement.
yeah, we had an agreement. I had a right of first refusal because I love our home, but I don't know if I'd buy it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm kind of
after living in
happy
prison, yeah.
that he turned down our offers. But the point was that I'm like, look, this is the right guy. This guy doesn't want to sell. Clearly, he's made that point very prevalent to me. And that means I can stay here for as long as I want. And one thing that I want the audience to understand when it comes to renting or buying, whether it's right for you, is going to depend on you. But just keep in mind, renting is the most you'll ever pay per month, and a mortgage is the least you'll ever pay per month. So that should dictate what you want to do. Because if you're looking at a mortgage saying, I can only afford just that and I'm extending my means, then you probably shouldn't buy, because you're probably going to be paying more than that in any given, the overall cost of ownership is going to be more than the monthly payment, because the second a water heater breaks, the second the roof it has a leak, the second you have an issue or some capex or maintenance that needs to go into the property, that mortgage per month is much higher. The cost of ownership is much higher.
And a lot of people aren't saving for that because they just purchased a home. So they're not prepared for these things
Right.
to take
Yeah.
place.
You're
And a
not
lot of these
prepared for those
properties that they're
phantom costs.
buying close to like 600, I would say 600K to a mil are properties that are going to have these issues. The seller knows what they're getting rid of. And at the end of the day, you're going to go into a property, new furnishings and everything. And all of a sudden, your roof starts caving in the middle of hurricane season. So,
and no one ever factors in those costs. But the reality is,
You know, all the offers without inspection that happened in
Oh.
2022.
They're feeling it now, I'm sure. But
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, and that happened a ton.
You
And
had to do that.
I mean, yeah, you
had to do that. You had to. If you wanted to buy it, you knew that you had to.
Yeah, it was a
wanna-
wild
It was-
year.
it
It was a wild year. I remember having conversations with people that I've never had before and haven't had since, right? And you're literally telling people, it's like, listen, would I recommend that you do this? Absolutely not. But here's the reality. What I would normally recommend would never get your offer
yeah, but the
accepted.
prices
so you'd
that
have to
they
make
locked in were pretty good. though, in
Yes,
consideration.
so
no.
that
That's-
was the double-edged sword. You can't get an inspection, or you can, but there's no inspection period. So have a 30-day contract, do an inspection, find out what you're getting yourself into, but you can't pull out of the contract because of that, right? So you're just it's just for peace of mind. But what Chloe was saying, you would hedge your bet against that by knowing that you got a 2.75% interest rate, which is like the lowest in recorded history ever. So at some point in time, with that low of a payment, equity just does its thing and you're going to be all right. It's just, can you weather that storm until that happens, right? And so I would say with some people, I'm like, think worst case, can you hold this for 5-7 years? Because that's what it's going to take if you want to, like, you know, make your money back. But yeah, I mean, renting versus buying. What do you got? If you had a client right now that asked you, hey, Mario, I'm thinking about renting or buying in One Miami, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would ask them number one that question, right? Is this what are you gonna want to invest in properties? Because that's kind of like the conversation I always try to speak with my clients is, are you gonna want to keep buying properties? I mean, if they're coming from out of state, I kind of, sometimes I don't know if I should do this, but I tell them, hey, why don't you try, it's like being completely honest with them. Why don't you try renting for a year and seeing if you actually really love this, right? But then I also go into my selling Miami, which is like, bro, if you buy here, I mean, you're gonna be good no matter what, So it's kind of a weird thing that I have whenever I have clients, specifically when they're coming from out of state. But yeah, I would ask them, exactly the situation I'm in right now, which is when I are renting and we're planning on buying investment properties, and following your guys' steps. But I think that's the big question, right? If they're gonna want to continue buying properties, because if so, I would say, save up, keep buying properties, and don't kind of lock yourself in to this one thing.
There's a lot of things that you have to have a checklist to make sure you're even ready to buy. Like you have to have your down payment, you have to have some funds for the closing costs.
Does your back hurt?
Your credit needs to be good.
I mean, at some point, I don't know, because you start getting old, you start thinking about what you just said.
You're so
you want to start a family, that's all the time your back starts hurting, So, anyways.
What's the thing you told me that you were like, now when you're older, every time you get into the car, you start grunting?
Bro, Steven and I, we went to go to the store to get some steaks, and when we sat in the car, literally
every bone
getting in, we hear, I'm like this, I know you're getting old.
Yeah, dude. Bro, every time we play basketball, it's like you get in your car after playing basketball.
Group of old men
just
playing
why did
basketball,
I just do that?
and then we're getting the flashback from that because they get home and they're like,
that next day
I'm
is
so
like,
sore, but don't tell Mario, I'm so sore.
I know we're each like,
God.
no, I'm good. Don't let the other person know that I'm hurting.
We're fine though. We're fine. We're winning. I'm like, you're crazy. And then he uses like Sunday to recuperate. I'm like, okay.
Like ice.
Mario will have the Normatec boots on.
The Normatec, I know, man. I'm like, when did this guy buy? Anyways.
But on Mario's on the subject. So my mother-in-law is actually in that scenario right now where she's like, no, she's very active. I'm sure her back does not hurt, but she's looking into buying, and she's now like, okay, should I rent? Should I buy? And I'm like, didn't we have this conversation 3 years ago? Actually, didn't we have this conversation last year? You've worked with her. So she does
this conversation yesterday.
I feel like we've had this conversation every year. Every year her lease is up. It's like, should I buy? Should I buy? Yeah. She has, how many grandkids does she have? She has like 3, 4, 5. She has like 6 kids that are always with her, including her godson and her goddaughter. And she wants a room for them to play with. And then she doesn't want to move around a lot because every time you move, guys, things break. And like, it's just a lot of investment up front, right? So every time I'm walking her towards like buying, she's like, yeah. And so she's like, you know what? I'll lease another year. This year, she's like, I'm done. Like, I need to buy something. The prices are ridiculous. Did you see that house we could have just bought last year? And I'm like, I know. I had this conversation. So she's a really good example. And like, now I think she's listening to me because she's finally seeing like, hey, there's only six houses in this specific area that you want, that are in the price point that you want, but they're older. And that's what you're going to get. So you have to, and I told her, you have to stop thinking about what the market even looked like a year ago, because that's no more. If you get lucky, great. If not, then buying is not for you. Like, let's just move on, lease, like Steven said, make friends with your landlord and move on. And that's going to be your rite of passage, right? So
I don't like the sentiment that buying is throwing away money. A lot of people, renting is throwing away money. I don't like that sentiment because I don't think that that's true. I think that's a very narrow way of looking at the buying versus renting situation. That if I rent, I'm just throwing the money away. I'm paying the mortgage for somebody else. I could debate that because I would say, well, no, if you rent and then you're able to put yourself in a position where you can save that money for a down payment to buy a rental property. So you still buy a property. Then theoretically speaking, and I'll give you this example. Let's say your rent's $3,000, and then you can buy a property and you lower that rental to $2,000, let's just say, because the interest rate's better. So that same property costs you $2,000 to own it or $3,000 to rent it. I would prefer to rent that property for $3,000 and buy a property that provides me $1,000 in cash flow. So now we're both paying $2,000. Mine is just being offset by $1,000 of a rental property. But on top of the $1,000 that, let's say Mario bought the home, he pays $2,000, I pay 3. Now I offset it with 1,000. What I get on top of Mario that Mario isn't getting is a cost segregation study that I could do on my rental property, which can lower my taxes significantly. I get the appreciation. You also get the appreciation, but I get the appreciation as well. And we get the depreciation of the property and the tenant pay down on the principal. So there's a lot more benefits that I get in terms of just buying that asset. And plus, I'm also more nimble. If I ever need to move from that rental to somewhere else, to a more affordable rental for whatever, so I could save more cash, I could do that, and I'm not stuck on that one place. So I can debate that pretty much any day. I think the point that I'm getting at is that buying versus renting is not really a question. You should be buying. The question is, what are you buying? Are you going to be buying to live in, or are you going to be buying a property to rent? And either way, buying in Miami is a good deal. I would say buying a rental property, especially if you're younger, you don't have kids, you don't have a family, like that's what you should be doing. You should be crashing with roommates. And so as long as you can, you should be house hacking, you should be renting. We can't do that, obviously. But as you get older, it's more complicated.
We did, and at the worst time of the market. Like we did it pre-COVID, post-COVID, and then we realized, hey, we need a house. And you guys are in the same boat. Like it gets to a point that you're just like, man, I want to be able to just not have a parking garage. I have to go 9 floors down, and just the convenience alone. But with that convenience, it costs. So I think, I just think it's a very general subject, but it just depends on where you're at in your life. Also, if you're older, a lot of times like not older, I hate to say older because at 50 you're not old. But as you get older, you're just like, I just want something more stable. 50 was old, and now we're like right there.
Now we're like, man, 50's young.
It's crazy.
No, man, 50 ain't old. 50 ain't old. All right, let's wrap this segment up here on the buying versus renting. Isabel, you have any final words to say? Any words of wisdom?
I actually do have a client that's going through the same exact thing right now. She's excited about buying. She reached out to me in December and wants this year to be her year. And so at the beginning of the year, she reaches out. She's like, hey, maybe not. Maybe I rent for a year. People getting scared. But I'm telling her, I'm like, you're ready. She's ready. Like, she's done her research. Like, she, she's, her finances are good. Yeah. So I'm pushing her to buy because I think that's what she should do.
If she's in that stage in life, right? Then it's case by case basis. I think us as real estate agents, we need to really assess our client's situation and give them the best feedback and recommendation based on their circumstances, their lifestyle, and what their goals of what they're trying to achieve are, right? Which is going to vary from person to person.
Yeah, just don't.
Well, it's funny because I actually had a client the other day tell me, Mario, I'm gonna need you to sell me on this. Like, he wants to buy. he's like, but I'm gonna need your help to push me like over the edge so I can actually buy, because I'm gonna talk myself out of this as many times as possible. And so I really need you to close this, Mario. I need you to make sure I buy something.
And then they get mad at you. You're like at the closing table and like look at the numbers. You're like, I told you.
You told me no inspection. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, on a case by case basis. But he's in sales, so he gets sales. Good. But he's just afraid to take the step.
Some people are more emotional.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm trying.
Mario, you had to sell him. All right, guys.
Mario's clients are
to be continued.
I want to see when is it supposed to close? Like, have you found them anything or no?
So he got pre-approved, and now it's really just pushing him over the edge. So that Spartan kick.
45 days, baby. 45 days.
Yeah, and that's it. But I mean, it's just hard right now because he wants a single family home. And he wants it in Coral Gables. Yeah.
And he wants it under a mill.
And he doesn't want to do anything to it. But
turnkey.
Yeah, turnkey.
Like no offers. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean.
Land it is.
Yeah, sure.
Pass by and look at it like, yeah, it's mine.
That's my patch of grass.
One day.
I'm trying to think. Do I want to take this a more serious tone, or do I want to make it more light?
No, man, take it. Let's go light.
Let's go a little light. All right.
Let's come back on it.
Okay, fine. All right. We'll go a little light. Hey guys, if you're finding value from this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, and
that's gonna be on
all that stuff. Yeah, make sure you do all that because we try to bring value. So hopefully we do. All right, let's go a little light then. I actually like this topic. Isabel was bringing this topic up because I think you had somebody ask you. I've had other people ask me as well in the past, and I really haven't ever decide. I think I was gonna make a video on this once on my channel, but I just never did. How did we each get into the real estate market? What brought us to being real estate agents now? And do we regret that decision? Because I know each one of us have a background in doing something prior to real estate. And it's funny how life works because we didn't go down that path. So
actually, I feel like we all sort of inspired each other, right? Now that I see it, sort of like trickles.
I inspire me.
Well, no, not you. I know you're different. No. You're special.
No, that's a quote. I think that's a gay quote.
So for Steven, for me, it was I was in events. I think I've said it in one of the podcasts. I was in events.
Chloe Events, shout out to Chloe Events.
Chloe Events, which I still get calls, by the way. It's so funny. I'm like, guys, I don't do that anymore.
If
and
an
then
event is buying your house,
business got very slow at one point of the year, as it does for the event industry.
Mean people just weren't doing weddings anymore in the midst of a pandemic?
No, it was before the pandemic. And then that summer, 2019, that's when I met Isabel, and I would go to the office, and you needed a personal assistant because you were going crazy. And I was like, all right, sure, I'll help you stack some paper and like organize things.
Ooh, stack
and then some, and then he sent me out on a showing, and he's like, open this door. And that's how my career started. And it was just like one of those things that the clients would wanted to work with me, and I would be to pass it on to Steven. He's like, no, they want to work with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I just took it on. He's like, you need to get your license because you can't be closing transactions without a license. So I did that. Took forever.
Allegedly, you did that because I don't remember.
You don't remember me studying like crazy for the exam. So guys, let me just tell you, I am not, listen, I went to UM, I studied really hard, but I'm the kind of person I do not know, I do not memorize. It's very difficult for me to study for exams. I get very stressed out. I failed 5 times, okay? I failed 5 times.
Of that Daniel Tosh quote when he's just like, I'm a bad test taker.
I am a bad test taker.
And then he's like, oh, you mean you're bad at when they test you on what you actually know?
Because I do know it, but Isabel, you know this. Isabel, please chime in. They made it so difficult. Steven took this in like the 1980s, okay? And the test changed. No, I'm just kidding. He took it in 2015. The test changed. Yes, it was difficult. I honestly think it was my environment too. Anyways, I don't need to defend myself.
You guys always say that my test was easier. Somehow.
Anyways, it was easier. It was easier. It was. So I studied really hard, finally passed. And what was like the first week of January, I like my whole holiday went to it, and then I became a realtor. And guess what happened?
So bad Christmas and like vacation. I forgot.
I was like vomiting in Tennessee because of the stress. I was not passing this test. I'm like, how did I go get a 4-year degree and I cannot pass this stupid exam? So if you are a realtor or trying to be a real estate agent, this test is stopping you. Just know that you can do it. That for me, I feel was the main test. Then I get my first couple rentals and COVID hits, and that's where I knew I was going to kick butt in this industry because all my clients canceled their contracts and I got them back under contract 1 month later. So amazing. That's where I knew I was like, this is for me. I love it. I love, like selling to people and just creating the relationships.
Kind of nudged you into real estate.
Yeah,
kind of nudged
like anything, but that's what I said. The market will test you, and that's where you're going to be up against everybody else, and that's what's going to make you stand apart from them. So
Isabel has a cool background story before.
Yeah, Isabel's is the best.
Probably the most interesting is Isabel's.
Yeah.
So I was in fashion before real estate, and the company that I was working with before, they closed their Miami location. And so Mario's family had been in real estate for a while.
That's right.
And so she tells me, she's like, hey, they're hiring downstairs in the office of the building that you live in the real estate office. So I'm like, okay, let me go and apply. I want to buy have my own house one day. I want to invest. So I don't see it as like I'm wasting time. So let me go and learn about real estate. So this was to apply as the admin for the Cervera One Miami office it's in downtown. And so that's how I got started, through your mom, because your mom used to work in that office. Your mom knew everybody there, and she's like, oh, they're hiring.
Is your mom still working in real estate?
She still has her license.
Okay.
She's literally living off of her investments.
Her passive.
But she's not active.
But she's not active.
Yeah.
I mean, she has her license active for whenever, one of those deals comes along, just like the rest of the United States.
Everyone has their license.
Just
my mother-in-law has her license. No, for real. Everyone has their license.
Your aunt has a license too.
Yeah, but we all know if you're not working this full time, you're not a real estate agent.
So how did you become a realtor?
So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So
in 2020, I was
I think you kind of glossed over the whole fashion thing because I thought that was super interesting. Like you were a professional stylist.
Yeah, and
it wasn't just like you were doing
She's
fashion.
still doing it.
I still do it.
She's
I have a few gigs here and there. It's a secret.
Okay.
We can't say.
We're working with
a
some
celebrity. Are you working with a celebrity?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to Vegas this weekend.
Okay, I know you're going to Vegas, and I know, but you can't say the name of the celebrity.
No.
Listen.
Probably not, right?
Listen.
Okay, but
No, you don't do that.
I worked with him in the past. If you follow me,
Okay.
you know.
All right, but question.
Follow
You
us
can't say. Well, now we know it's a guy, but you can't say who it is. That's fine. We'll respect that. You'll tell me off air, but can you say? You know, used to love when podcast hosts were like, "Oh, I'll tell you off air," and I always wondered if they did because I'm like, "Bro, you'd forget about that." But I'm gonna really hold you to it. But can you tell us what industry he's in? Like, is he in the music industry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. He's a reggaetonero. Is it Bad Bunny?
Why are we doing this?
I wish it was Bad Bunny. No, it's
Don't
not.
put her on the spot.
He is in reggaeton, so it is
Okay.
He's a
in
reggaeton.
that genre.
He's a reggaetonero.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
It's
do.
Don Omar.
I do.
Dude, you
I
hating
do,
on Don Omar right now? Dude, I'm
I
sorry.
love
He's
Don
a
Omar.
fan, dude.
I don't
so
know any,
I'm
like, I
sorry.
know of these people, but I don't know, like, anything else. I've just heard their names. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a big reggaeton
No,
person.
by any means. I
fine.
can't stand Bad Bunny. Come at me. Come at me. Come at me.
dude.
I remember I was working at a smoothie shop at one point, and it
What's
was
smoothie shop, by the way?
Hugo Fresh. It
I
was,
remember. Yo, what happened to Hugo Fresh?
Wait, the one in downtown?
yeah, they went back.
Oh, I
They didn't
remember
manage
Hugo
to
Fresh.
run it.
Oh.
Anyways, and then I went to this other one, which was a friend of mine owned it, and I was like, bro, let me get a job. I had just gotten back from one of my military schools.
From Mexico.
It was from Mexico, never mind. It was from Mexico, and I didn't have a job at that point. I was this way before real estate, and I came home. All they would play was reggaeton, and Isabel was
He
like,
came home singing reggaeton songs.
Isabel was like,
and I'm like, what
bro.
are you doing?
she's like, bro.
I know with
you
that
better
face,
stop with
right?
that music."
I was like, this
She was listening to Bach and Mozart.
She's like,
No, she's listening to house. House music is the
I
best.
literally got pissed. I was
She
like,
got
we
mad at
don't
me,
play
bro.
that here.
And now you're and
I would have been.
now.
I would have been the same.
shower.
Yeah.
It's Bad Bunny.
Now, if you
Dude.
go to my Spotify Wrapped or whatever at the end of the year, it's all
Reggaeton.
And I'll never forget
Music,
how I felt
reggaeton.
when she started listening to reggaeton, and she.
Why are you saying it like that?
Reggaeton. It's reggaeton.
It kind of bothers me.
I'm sorry.
You're Hispanic.
Yeah, you're
Mario.
Hispanic. They say it right.
I watch too much
Reggaeton.
Parks and Recreation. Okay,
Yeah.
it's reggaeton.
People always make fun of me whenever I say things like in Spanish.
Bro,
Why?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. People are always
I
like,
think
why
it's
do you
funny
say
when a
like that?
Hispanic tries to like sound like a gringo.
Like a gringo.
Like a gringo.
Well, I've been.
I like pronouncing it the way it's supposed to be pronounced. Like I don't like when people say Porsche. I'm like it's Porsche,
Porsche.
or Cartier, all right,
Cartier.
or whatever.
It's not Cartier.
Cart-
It's Cartier.
Cartier. Yeah, it's
It's what?
Cartier.
It's Cartier.
But I'm saying it's not Cartier.
Next.
Okay, so let's wrap up the story with Isabel. She's a personal stylist. Was a
Yes,
personal
I
stylist. Still
do
is a
that
personal
on the
stylist.
side. If you need something, holler at me.
Style,
I
bro.
love that too.
You should style real estate agents, bro, because there's a lot of there's a lot of bad dressed. Hey, don't hey, we're not calling out any names, but there's a lot of bad dressed real estate agents, and I'm just gonna say it. But
Yeah, but there's agents that are very successful. That
Yeah,
are very
that don't
large.
right, that's
like
fine.
not everybody is
That's-
gonna
yeah.
be like us. That we literally live and breathe.
no, and some people are gonna be
So-
like, speak for yourself, Steven. I don't have to wear a
Yeah,
suit every single.
and
I'm like,
that's
yeah,
okay.
that's fine. Yeah, it's.
But if you are looking into suiting, there's
I just feel like
specific
it. Whatever. Anyways, I've literally interrupted you 4 times. I'm
Dress to
sorry.
impress.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
So you were working as a personal stylist, and you even worked for a person who was personal style, right? Stylisting, if that's even a word.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
It was an awesome job, but like I said, they closed, and I either had to move to LA or New York, and Mario was like, "We're not going."
Yeah.
So I
Same.
switched to
One
real
Miami.
estate.
Squash your dream right there.
I was the admin at One Miami for like 3 years, and then I decided to get my license.
What brought you over the top? Were you just seeing all these agents close the deal? You're like, these people.
I was pushed.
Yeah.
I was pushed by
She got a sporty kick.
by Cervera because they didn't need an admin for the One Miami office anymore. So
Yes, they do.
They
I
definitely
was
did.
let
They
go
still
from that
do,
position. So after that, I got my license. I was like, you know what? Like, this is the next thing for me.
Yeah.
and seeing you guys and talking to you guys. And at that point, I think I joined the CPM. Confident Property
So yeah,
Management.
so we needed somebody to help.
That's right.
And I was always obsessed with Isabel. I was like, this girl is so organized. And I remember she was like the admin. I was like, I'm gonna take you one day.
Yeah, she's very
You're
efficient.
gonna be. I was like, you're gonna help us. You're gonna help us grow CPM, and she was. She was our first our first. I hate
employee,
to call
right?
them employees. Our first team member at Confidant. And she really helped us expand to where we're at today. So I'm super grateful for her. And there was a lot of stress during that time, but she was also growing, right? She was also getting referrals from us and growing her clientele. And now she's like, girl, I don't want to work for CPM anymore.
You have a bunch of referrals and your own
When
client list.
When I got my license, I was like, the next best thing would be to join the Vargas team.
Yeah. And then Mario came about.
Yeah.
Then I get a call from
then
Steve. It's like,
unfortunately, she brought Mario in.
You know what's funny? He has another interesting story because he actually tried to get his license at the age of 18 or 19.
At the tender age of 18.
I was 17 getting it so I could get it at 18.
Okay, no
And
problem.
okay, no problem. And guys, honestly, it was not the time for me. If I feel like if I would have joined, just give you guys some backstory. My mom, my aunt, and pretty much a lot of my family works in real estate.
I had no idea.
Yeah, my mom used to do
No, I know that,
mortgages. My aunt used to do mortgages. They both had the real estate license, and pretty much I grew up around it. See my mom buy houses. See my mom, lose houses in 2008. Seeing, just growing up by. I always knew, and I could tell my cousins in Colombia. They would tell you. I would tell them, I'm gonna get rich off selling houses, and I was like a little kid, like a crazy little kid, and they were like, so how are you gonna do it? How are you gonna? I'm gonna get my license, and I'm gonna sell houses. That's it. It's Miami, bro. And
So you're one of the few people that had a dream,
that actually lived up to it.
I wanted to do this all my life.
That's so cute.
And I went at the age of 18, and it was not my time. I was very irresponsible. I didn't have any focus.
Still kind of are.
Bro, I was. It was just not for me. I feel like if I would have gotten my license then, I wouldn't have came in and been.
But I think you also gained experience in other things, in other fields you worked.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure. So then.
Yeah, you have a skill set and other things that you brought to real estate.
Right.
Well, how'd you get that skill set?
So I was. I worked at the smoothie spot.
Oh, we can't miss the smoothie spot.
Make some of the best chai lattes now.
No, because the truth is, man, I'm a very healthy person, and no, I'm just kidding. But
the videos with the new tropic.
yeah, so then I joined this. I was working at this place called the Lab Miami, and it was a co-working space in the middle of Wynwood.
Oh, okay.
And I, made a lot of friends, a lot of connections. That's where I met this guy, the owner from Caracas.
Okay.
He used to do code. That's where I've met pretty much everybody. And so I was working there. I had gotten an internship there, then I got a job there. But in the meantime, there was an event company called the New Tropic.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey man, exactly the same thing. They poached me and they said, come work for us, help us with our events and this and that, because I'm very outgoing, I'm very friendly, and I'm funny. And so then pretty much I joined them, and I kind of saw myself growing. I love photography since I was a little kid. I love videography, and I started becoming, video and photographer guy for them. So I got that skill set, and then I left. I left with Isabel. We went to Mexico for like, how many months, baby?
3 months.
For like 3 months, we went just to live off in her town, in her small little town. Crazy. We started
That's
a
a crazy
Wi-Fi.
experience.
We started a Wi-Fi company there. So we paid a guy
You
to.
did?
Yeah.
What year was this?
This is
2016.
This is before you joined Cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we would sell Wi-Fi, and we lived there just off our savings.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And so every month you were losing savings.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't.
Wi-Fi would
I
not pay for my
do
food.
not understand how people do that.
Hey man, we were young.
We were younger. We were able to take
Yeah.
those risks.
Babe, we did a lot of stuff in our 20s. Like, that's the time to take the risk and have fun and enjoy.
I know, but I sometimes envy the fact because I don't have that component in my life. Where
Now?
I'm like, I'm gonna live off my. Even now, like I'm like,
We
live
didn't
off
even
my.
have
I
savings.
need. No, then yeah, but I'm like, even now, I'm just like, I need multiple years of savings in my. And even when I have multiple years, or that I have now that I have multiple years of savings in my account, I'm like, I still cannot. Either way, it's not about me. Go ahead.
Now, I feel like we wouldn't do it, but I'm so happy we did it at that time because we could. We were able to.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
came back. I had my job secured with the same styling company.
And we had the apartment at One Miami secured.
Secured as well. We were, yeah.
Yeah,
It was the best time to do it.
And so then I said, you know what? I'm gonna work with my father. My father, Luis Restrepo, curtains and blinds.
Also in the real estate
Actually, I
industry.
need him
Real
here,
estate
by the way.
adjacent for
I need
sure.
to get that.
Yeah, and so he works with a lot of surveyor agents, and a lot of people know him. He does, honestly, the best. I gained a lot of my work ethic from him because this guy charges a lot, guys. He's expensive, but his work, his details, his
He stands
finishing,
on his work.
bro, and he gives you a warranty because he knows how good it is. So I kind of put that in my philosophy of work now, every single day.
He leaves your place super clean. You know how some vendors, some contractors will come and leave a mess. No, this guy,
It's your
this guy
problem.
brings a vacuum with him to
Yeah.
like
That's awesome.
vacuum the dust that comes up.
And so then, while I was working with him, I got my degree in psychology. And so I majored in psychology and I minored in marketing, and at FIU. And once I graduated, I said, "Okay, Mom, I hope you're happy with this degree because I pretty much did this for you. I'm not gonna pursue a career in psychology. I'm gonna use it every day of my life, but I'm gonna do real estate. I went and got my license and I joined the team. And it's been
So you had no intention of ever being a psychologist?
no, I love psychology. I love it, and I study it.
What
And
inspired you to like just finally get your real estate license and
Yeah.
continue
Well,
this full time?
I was
It was
tired
finally
of.
time, right?
Yeah, it was finally time.
Yeah, but there must have been a moment where you're
There
like,
was a moment where we had a conversation with you and you're like, you need to do
Oh
this
my God, I forgot about that
full-time in our
conversation,
house.
yeah.
And I had a baby on me and I was like, Mario, this isn't something to do part-time. Remember that we were trying, it was in our dining room that you guys
But
came
he was
over.
already a realtor then.
No, you had already gotten your license,
Yeah,
but you hadn't
yeah.
officially started till
I think,
January,
yeah,
right?
he
You
hadn't
started the
officially-
January cycle because that's how
I
you got
think
rookie
he
of the
was
year
like,
the
it
whole
was
year.
like in December, and he's like, "Oh, just push it to January." I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, I was number one. I was still working with my dad, and I needed to help him get out
Close
of
up,
me.
yeah.
And
Hire
so right, I
Yeah.
had to train people and stuff like that. So I kind of took it easy, but I went,
Full in, yeah.
full head of steam.
Yeah, you
like I always
committed,
said.
and then you just did it.
Because we took it once before the test, the course.
Oh my gosh, guys! So
We took it.
Oh, you
before
did take it,
together, and then
actually.
we never went and took the state exam.
Oh,
Why
so
do
he was
people
with
do
you
that?
when you did that?
There's so many people who do
Oh, I
that.
didn't know that.
I feel like
It's like they're
it's,
like they get through that, and then they're just like, I don't even want like.
So it's the same thing as when you tell somebody that you've done something and you haven't done it. So you get this
Who
sense
does
of
that?
like accomplishment.
I don't
I've
understand.
done
Some
Yeah.
people do that. So some
That's
people
so crazy.
it's weird. Some people say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," and people are like, "Oh, cool." And so then, they in their mind something happens to where they won't go out and do it. And so in my head,
It's like
from-
incomplete work. Though.
right, but it's instant gratification, and it's just happening right now a lot with like people who posts on Instagram, right? They post, they're in a Porsche or something.
For sure.
Damn it, Porsche or whatever. And it's kind of like this instant gratification that people are always searching
Yeah.
for. Whatever, you go and you take the exam, and then you never follow through.
That sucks, man, because you get that far and then
Yeah.
you're like, it's all here right now. Like, just finish.
Exactly.
I don't
that's
understand that.
interesting.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
thing.
great.
It's a thing that happens.
But you're also young.
Yeah.
Like at that point, you're like, is this something I really want to do? I don't know. Like,
I wasn't sure.
I mean, I knew. It was just bad decisions of not following through.
But now it's like so gratifying. I love it. I don't want to do anything else. I love helping my clients. I love helping people. This is a big decision. It's either putting them into their next, rental or
They're forever home.
their forever home. So
Yeah.
it's a big,
Yes.
it's a big
Yeah.
part of someone's decision that we're a part of.
Yeah, no, but real estate's been amazing, guys. I love it.
I love
I
it.
love it
too.
all day. And with my photography and videography, I think this has been sort of perfect.
It's a good skill
I
set.
feel
to
like
have
you
in
guys
real
have a
estate.
good balance, though. I feel like when Steven and I had first started, well, especially him, because I started later after, years after, the stress that we still feel every day. Like, I see you guys and you're busy, but you're also like relaxed. Like you
Enjoying
also
life.
find time. Like we went to Mario's house like 2 days ago and I see, or like a few days ago, and I see a bird bath. And Mario's so excited about this bird bath, but he looks so at peace, right? And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, wins rookie of the year, like has these transactions, but he's so calm. And then you see me and Steven getting out of the car, grabbing my purse. I'm like, okay, we gotta be out of here in an hour.
We got 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, and then they're like way by from their house, and they're so peaceful. I'm like, what are we doing,
this level
Steven?
of
Mario
What
will
do we
always have time for his me time.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
always.
Mario really likes his me
himself
time.
first.
He puts
Don't have
himself
kids, bro.
first,
Don't have
second,
kids. Me
third.
time will cease.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. If you don't put yourself first, you'll never be able to put someone else second.
Or live presently, right? Like I just feel like we work every day on this grind. Is just like a constant. Like, are we being what, Joe?
No, it's
What,
a
Joe?
beautiful. It's a beautiful. I don't know if I just made that shit up. But if you never put yourself first,
No, you
you'll
didn't.
never
You
be
didn't
able
make
to
that
put
up.
someone else
I know.
second.
He said it and paused like for dramatic effect,
And
and
you laughed,
nobody
but
gave
you-
him anything.
No, but just
It
think
wasn't a
about
mic drop moment,
that. Bro,
but
yeah,
let's
it's a
move
mic
on.
drop moment, bro. I'm tweaking.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm tweeting.
I
We're gonna
did, right?
clip
I was like,
that.
it's dying. Let me pick it up.
That was honestly beautiful because I mean, grammatically speaking, yeah, that
You
person
cannot be
second.
like living.
I'm
off-
still on this. I'm still on this.
You're
Okay.
fanboying off of your own scene. Okay.
Yeah, well, look, this is a good segue into mental health because that's one of the topics is stress and mental health.
I was
Now,
trying to go there,
giving
but
you
Mario is
giving you
like
your- I know.
bringing it back up,
It
and it went
wasn't-
back down.
he-
Like nothing there,
Giving-
nothing there, empty.
You know, I have a different sentiment on this, and like, I'm a contrarian by nature, and I'm against the grain in many things, but work for me has always been winning. You know that there's that saying is like, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? What's your answer?
Bro, I love to win. Fuck. But I mean,
And I think that's the fundamental difference. I hate to lose more than I like to win.
no, bro, that's insane.
Yeah.
Well, when you and I play basketball, and we're losing, we get really angry.
We get really angry, but this because I hate losing. And
What do you love?
I
What
think I'm-
feeling do you lean to more? Is it the gratification of winning, or is it knowing and living with that resentment if you lose?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So like a lot of it to me in life and in business is I'm more fueled by not giving people the satisfaction of saying, I told you couldn't do it, or I knew that you weren't going to do that, as opposed to me wanting to do it. I'm more of like, oh, I'm going to do this so that they can never say I never did it. Right. So like that to me kind of drives me. And so that in many cases doesn't give you a lot of me time because I get a lot of work guilt. Like whenever I'm having a me time moment, I've gotten better later on in life, having a kid, getting closer to God, all those things have helped me get to this point. But like early on in my career, I was just like, every time I had a me second, like, hey, we want to go have lunch? I'm like, I cannot have lunch. I need to eat the sandwich in 5 seconds. I need to get back to the grind, right? And I just had a lot of guilt. And so, but I don't regret that, man, because I just feel like for some people, not everybody, a lot of me time is kind of just like, it's a veil of saying like, they just don't want to admit, maybe I just don't want to try as hard as what it takes. Like I don't want to give, I don't want to pay the price and do the sacrifices needed to get to where I want to be. And so therefore I'm not saying that that's anybody in this room or just in general. I'm just saying like when growing up, I started to see that and I'm
I
like,
think
no.
it just depends on your goals. It's what makes you happy at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I see the way you see it, where you want to hold that against everybody else. I think the reason I like winning more is because I'm more so doing it for myself as opposed to taking it away from other people. You get me? Like not letting somebody say that they won as opposed to me saying, yeah, I won to myself. Because I feel like guys, it's true. Me time for me is really important. And you guys laugh at that all the time.
No, I don't laugh anymore. It's important. It's important for me
I
now,
honestly,
so. I just don't need as much me time as I feel like the average
I
person
respect
needs.
it so much because I think that you still work hard. I will never take that from you. It's shown you work
man, if
very
your
hard,
bird bats
but
give you
you have
peace.
a great balance on both of you have a great balance on life. I think Isabel too. Like you guys bring this very calm, fun energy, and at some point, I do think that that was your goal, right? To live at peace. And like, it just depends on, like with Steven, like sometimes we come off harsh to some people because there's like, we want this and we want to do this. Of course, God at the forefront of all of it, right? None of it, we don't deserve any of this. But for you guys, I feel like, no, you knew what you wanted. You wanted that peace of mind. You didn't want to clock into anybody. You wanted the freedom to travel whenever you wanted. You don't want to have kids right now. Like, you have set that, and that's something I admire, because you're still living to what you know your potential is and what it is that you see for your future. Like, it all depends. But you guys live at peace, I feel. Like, you find time for yourselves.
Man, talking about stress, and I know that's something that we're going to go into next, right? Is that... Oh,
Yeah.
We're in it. We're in it.
We're not going into it. We're
We're in
currently here.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that I'm not stressed all the time. I was so stressed out last year that I trained I did a marathon because of how stressed I was. It was
That helped you.
That helped me. Like, I literally
The running?
trained.
Running the training.
Yeah, when I
I guess you're not as stressed out because you're not trained.
But then, right, so now I look at it and now I'm just like, bro, I was supposed to run a half marathon tomorrow, and I'm not gonna be able to. We're good with this?
Yeah, I don't know. My computer wants to join the podcast. Go ahead.
His eye was twitching like
Yo.
last week because of how stressed he was. So he does have anxiety. He gets stressed too.
Why you gotta say that? No, I put that in confidence.
No, but I want to let people know, like,
Bro,
he gets stressed.
I think I'm twitching right now.
Yeah.
That's fucked up, man.
Yo, let's zoom into your face. And just like, all right, guys, we need to wrap this up because we're
So what do we do for stress? Isabel, what do you do for stress?
Breath work. I love breath work.
Box breathing.
Another form of, meditation. So I'll go to breath working classes, hour long, and you're just there. They're teaching you.
Where are you doing
an
this?
hour long of breathing is wild,
It's
bro.
amazing, guys.
Yeah, I want to try it. It's good.
The best experience I have ever experienced.
Yeah.
Chloe's
How frequently do you go?
once a month.
I want to try.
It's okay. It's you guys are laughing.
But like, do you know that men
I'm gonna
suffer?
charge
Do you know
you
that like there's a huge percentage
to
of
do
men
something
that
you
suffer from
already
heart
doing.
attacks?
That's
Because
why.
you're laughing, but you too are probably the ones that need to do the breath work.
So it's not a whole
No, I know
hour
it's important.
of
I know
just
it
breathing.
regulates your heartbeat. I know it.
Yeah,
does
it's
it.
amazing for your brain and
But
everything.
it's just
it helps
funny.
with whenever I would run with Mario during his training, I was able to keep up even though I wasn't training.
Can you
as hard as
demonstrate a breath?
Okay, so it's like breathe. All right, let me do it.
I wanna. How is it?
Guys, gentlemen, join me.
What are we doing?
So you breathe in through your stomach and then your chest. So, and then you breathe out, and that's it. So you do.
So
that.
your stomach and chest.
I've been doing this for my whole life.
No, so they play music and it's a tempo. So you do it, through,
But you just
Oh,
do that.
and you
the
know, I've
tempo of
also
the
heard that
song.
if you like breathe in and then you breathe in
The
one more
double
time,
breath?
the
Yes.
double breath is like that
Yes.
releases
That's
stress.
the best. That's the best.
So there's also a Navy SEAL.
You need
I
to
think
do-
it's
I need
Navy
to
SEAL
do
or
this with
Army
you. It
thing, I
sounds
don't
like
know.
great.
It's called box breathing. So what you do is essentially you breathe out all the way until you can't breathe out anymore, and right when you're about to like not have any air, you breathe in all the way until you can't breathe in, and you just do that constantly.
Yeah,
That
it helps a
regulate-
lot.
That calms you. So if you're nervous or whatever, that helps, and it actually does work. So
It helps you
helps you
sleep as
focus.
well at night if like you can't sleep because you have a deal. That's
the offers are in the room.
yeah. The offers are in the room. You just do some breath work.
All right, guys, we have officially reached an hour. I know you guys like to keep this tight, so let's get through this last topic, and then we'll just kind of rush through.
I
here,
thought that was the last
No, the last topic is mistakes to avoid. I was gonna skip it, but then I'm gonna be like, there's gonna be a person be like, hey, you guys promised you're gonna talk about this, and you didn't talk about it, right? So mistakes to avoid as a home buyer.
Only speaking to one lender, right? Don't you want to shop around
Shop around.
to get better rates, better terms on your loan?
Yeah, so that's a very key point because people think that if you just shop around, it's gonna affect your credit and it's gonna hit your credit 1,000 times. Because yeah, it's true. Most, if not all, mortgage lenders and brokers are going to run your credit. But what's also true is that the credit bureaus give you a window. I don't know if it's 15 or 30 days. I think it's 15 for you to shop around with as many lenders as you want, and they could run your credit as many times as you want, as long as within that 15 window shopping spree, and then they'll count it as one inquiry. So that was like a law established, I don't know when exactly, but it was for this primary reason, so that you wouldn't feel like you couldn't see if you got the best rate. And so I agree, shopping around, rate shopping is one of those things, but rate shopping should be a factor and not the factor, right? Because there's so many great lenders out there that even if they're charging, a quarter of a point more or whatever it is, sometimes it may in some cases be worth paying it to get better service.
Especially if it's a lender that like explains everything.
Right.
And they're just efficient,
Transparency.
Yeah, transparent.
Not like
They know what they're
closing docs
doing, and also they're able to handle those situations where it gets a little weird and
And they're not like, oh, we give up,
Right.
and then there goes your property. Yeah.
they come up with their solution based, so that's for sure. And anybody else have some
What was the question?
what mistakes buyers should avoid? Chloe's gonna be like, yeah, not working with me. Mistake you want to not avoid, you definitely
No,
want to
I would say like I don't know if they avoid. I honestly think buyers should have an idea of top 5 things that you want out of your property.
Yeah,
What
you're
are the
big on
top?
that. You're big on that.
I'm so big on that because I feel like people go in the house, they're like,
Not knowing
I
what
want
they
this, but I don't want
want,
this, I don't want
yeah.
this. I'm like, okay. What are the top 5 things you're looking for? And we'll narrow it down there because we're not going to waste time on scheduling showings. I'm not going to waste your time. You're not going to waste my time. And
If you don't
like,
even
I
know
want
what
to
you
find
want,
you,
yeah.
and you don't even know what you want. Like, just know. And then that way I'm guiding you. I don't feel like I'm just pushing you into buying something you don't really want. So give me the top 5 things that you're looking for and we will stick to that.
Yeah, and understand that even your top 5 are probably not gonna all be hit because
But you can. Yeah, you gotta
can get
bend a little
close,
bit,
But especially
yeah.
in today's market where inventory is limited, prices
Yeah.
are out of control. I mean, if you're like, I want to be in Coral Gables with a pool, modern single family home, turnkey for under $1 million, you'd be like, you're gonna get 4 of those, right? And it's gonna cost you $5 million, right? So that's the one you're not gonna get. So understanding, setting expectations, and understanding like, hey, wish lists are just that, wish lists, but like understanding what you can live with, what you can live without, wants and needs. Mario, you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big one is just for me right now, for example, I start thinking to myself like, oh man, I could live in Coral Gables, right? And I could have the life that I kind of wish I had right now, where it's going to cost me so much more, or I could buy in a neighborhood that's, as you would say, up and coming.
That's what we call it.
Up and
That's what we
coming.
call it.
I love that word.
And
What's some other real estate terms? That's
That's
good bones.
You're gonna hear gunshots and you're in the
Up and coming? You think that's
yeah,
what
up
that
and coming, yeah.
is? It's like up and coming gun alley.
But in a couple years, it's gonna be nice. It's pretty much what it's saying.
If you make it, right?
If you make it, yeah. God forbid.
I know. No, I don't think up and coming always means that, but I get what you're saying.
But if I see up and coming, I know.
Not always.
We should
but-
use like words to look out for and
Like cozy.
And
Yeah,
it's
mistakes for
cozy.
buyers to avoid. Look out for up
luxury.
and coming.
Yeah.
Everything's
Luxury.
luxury. Yeah, it's luxury. Yeah. Well, kind of, right?
Renovated,
Because
completely remodeled.
in some parts of the country where you could get a 1-bedroom rental for like $800, spending $2,000 for a 1-bedroom is luxury, but that's not going to get you anything luxurious here, at least. All right.
You, what about you?
I would say, I mean, that's the one, right? Like, just, I'm sorry. Think about the future, right? Especially if you're tight on money. But just think about what the neighborhood could be. And one of the things that I've been doing with Isabel is we drive around, neighborhoods, and we're like, don't look at what's there, look at what could be there. Right? I
That's
think
his new favorite.
That's my new favorite thing.
For
And,
your
and
sister.
I'll say that about any house.
You'll say that in any scenario.
Even
no
at
matter
Star
what the
Island.
question is.
No, don't look
Star
at it.
Island.
Look at what could be there.
That's how he starts off.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like, oh,
Yeah, Isabel's talking about how you could be a better man. And
She
and
was
she's like,
she was in the car with me the other day and was like, so that's your new saying, huh?
Every year he has a new one, right? Every year he's
Every 6 months.
Bro, the one I said today, bro, if you don't put yourself first, nobody will.
Yeah.
You can't ever put somebody second.
Bro, that's the new one, dude.
That's beautiful, dude. I don't know. No,
I
you
like
guys.
it.
I think it's terrible. I think I really should have skipped over that one. I'm sorry.
Alright. We're gonna have a long talk.
No, Caracas, sorry. Go. What about you?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Oh yeah.
You.
No, I mean,
The
you
guy
guys
with
finish.
the mic.
We all have mics, by the way.
I know.
I made sure of that.
That's what I know.
I think the biggest mistake that first-time homebuyers should not make is understanding that real estate is a team sport, and there's so many moving plates in a real estate deal, from the title company to the inspector to the lender to the processor to the real estate agent. There's so many different people at play in order to get a real estate deal done, and so. Yeah, it's as cliche as it sounds when it's like, oh, make sure you work with the right real estate agent. I think what people are meaning by that is like, yes, almost anybody can show you a property, open a door, write the contract, and send it. But like, it's the in between, the passing of the baton to make sure that the right inspector goes to see it, and understanding that a termite guy may need to go as well. We may need a plumbing inspection, depending on that, how to fight for the credits for your client, and how to know when to, how to negotiate a deal, renegotiate a deal if needed, how to handle an appraisal when it comes under appraised value, how to work with the lender to do that.
Can they save the deal?
Right.
If
Can the lender figure out a solution by you proposing solutions? Like the other day, I proposed a solution where it was like the property didn't appraise. I think my client was putting 25 or 30% down, and the property didn't appraise by, I forgot how much money it was. And then I asked the lender, I'm like, dude, can he put just 20% down? Or 15% down, and then that difference he could just use it for the appraised value, and then it's the same amount of money if he wants to do that, if we can't get the seller to come down on the appraised value. So it's thinking outside of the box and finding solutions for problems before they happen, and understanding that agents who have done this long enough know those problems, because in a real estate transaction, it's like the same 10 problems that ever come up. But if you're really good at answering those problems, you'll do better. So that's one mistake. And then also just, there's a lot of hubris that comes into buyers now in the market, feeling because they have all this information easily accessible. They're like, oh, well, I know the comps and I know this or that. I'm like, dude, if you're just using Zillow, those are the worst comps. It's the worst value. I've said it multiple times. The guy who created Zillow, his estimate for his home was like $5 million over what he sold it for. So like, that guy couldn't get his home value right. You're not going to get your home value right. Like, it's unrealistic. I think, was that your yeah, that's mine. All right, so let's wrap this up. Anyways, those are the mistakes. So if you guys want to not make them, reach out to the Vargas team and we can help guide you. Does anybody have any final signing off words that they want to share with the beautiful people out there?
Any last quotes, Mario?
Yeah.
Any last words?
If you ain't first, you last.
Let's hang on to that one.
No, we're gonna
You know,
put
I
it in
just
big
realized
letters
that your
at the-
quote is just a "if you ain't first, you're last" reinterpretation. And you know what movie that's from? No? You have never seen Talladega Nights?
I think my quote is a little better.
More original.
Wow. Will Ferrell's gonna be
Well,
disappointed.
guys,
Thank you.
thanks for watching.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you sign us off. Go for it.
Go ahead, Steve, go ahead.
No, sign us
I
off.
can't do this.
No.
I haven't prepared.
You were just doing it.
It's fine.
Isabel, go ahead and sign us off. that camera turned off, by the way.
Thank you guys. Join us next month for the As Is podcast.
Yeah, that's my girl. Bye, guys.